Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Lean In podcast, where we talk about everything health, wellness, business, and all of the personal things.
But before we do, we need a little disclaimer. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to replace personalized medical advice. So, girls, today we are talking everything skin. Me and Em have both been on our own skin journeys, but in a different way. So, Em has really struggled with psoriasis, and I have really struggled with acne. So, we felt like it was a really good place for us to start. So, Em, tell us all about your skin journey.
Yeah, so I feel like I have mixed feelings about this episode. I am really excited to talk about this topic because I think no matter what, I really do believe that skin and your journey with your skin can impact anyone, and everyone has a different story or a different, I guess, journey with their skin if they have had any issues in the past. So I know this is going to resonate with probably a lot of people, but it also is, I guess, it's very vulnerable. Your skin and the way that you present outwards can be a really vulnerable position to be in. So I'm looking forward to, I guess, breaking down some barriers and hopefully people can take away some really good messages from this and learn a little bit about their skin from you. You have been such a huge impact in my life for a lot of reasons. So I think, yeah, it's so special to be able to share this with our community. So at the moment, I'm feeling pretty good about my skin. I have psoriasis, so it is an autoimmune disease, which I found out I had when I was about 8.
Yep, so quite young.
Yeah, really young, and it was really interesting the way I found out. I went to go get a haircut, so I had a full bowl cut when I was a kid, just
Cutie
ran the
patootie.
bowl cut for ages, and I went to go get a haircut in this little town, and they didn't wanna cut my hair because they thought I had nits, babe.
Oh, because of all the
Because I had, like,
white.
it looked like dandruff, I guess, but
Yeah.
they're like, "No, we're not cutting your hair." And I was like, "Mom, why won't they cut my hair?" And
Oh, you poor
then
thing.
cut a long story short, we found out that I actually do have psoriasis. So, psoriasis can present a little bit differently to a lot of people, and it's interesting, I didn't have many people that really talked about it and, were open about having psoriasis. I guess I kind of have learned in myself I'm a bit of an overshare and I don't really care anymore. I suppose it came to a bit of a journey where I'm just like, whatever, I've got psoriasis. And I guess the more I started talking about it, I found out that it's actually really common. A lot of people have psoriasis, whether it's just presenting in their scalp. That's really common just through your hairline. But unfortunately, I have had a few flare ups in my life that were quite, for lack of better words, debilitating.
Mm.
If you have psoriasis and you know what it is like to have a flare up, it is awful, awful, awful. I've had probably 2 flare-ups where it covered probably 90% of my body.
Oh,
So
wow.
Tia obviously knows, she's been on this journey with me. But yeah, if you think about having a pimple on your face, I guess times that by a million and having it cover your whole body is really,
Mm.
I guess there's so many different aspects to that. It's painful, it's quite irritating. Physically, it just feels, I felt like an alien. I felt just
Mm.
so disconnected from my body. I just felt so ashamed. And it was, yeah, it was really difficult, I guess, as well. If you think about the industry I'm in, I'm always in activewear. I was on the Gold Coast. I was living in a beach town. It is so, I guess, aesthetically driven. It's the way you look is your worth, and that's what I thought. I thought all of my worth was attached to the way that I look. So, yeah, I definitely found I attached a lot of my worth to the way that I looked,
Mhm.
and when I had probably that most recent flare up, it came at a pretty, pivotal time at my life. I was teaching Pilates, I was very front facing, I was doing a lot of work on camera, filming, classes, filming exercises. I was on a really successful platform, so it was challenging, I guess, a bit of an ego death to go through, that flare up at that time, and I was in a pretty new relationship at the time as well, um, and I just yeah, I really went into a pretty dark place. I struggled a lot with, I guess, just being in pain, but also I felt like, "Okay, I'm gonna lose everything, like, I can't do my job." I don't want to show up. I felt my job was so giving and I had to give for a lot of people. And there were some days where I just found I don't even want to wake up today in a way that just felt like I can't do this. I cannot because there's no timeline of how long these flare ups last. It's just one of those things you just have to take it day by day. And at the time, it was really difficult. I found it was really challenging. It was like the elephant in the room. You know, people would see you and you're just covered in
Yeah.
psoriasis. It was
And
so
I feel like
tricky.
too with skin, it can be tricky to hide as well. Like I
Mhm.
feel as though like say for example period pain you can kind of put on a brave face and
Mm,
push through it and people might not even know whereas like with your skin you can't hide it.
totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't cover it up.
Yeah. And it was tricky, but I definitely and I've had this conversation with you and probably my partner and some close friends. I think in hindsight, it's always easy with hindsight, but I do find that going through that flare up at the most recent one, it did so much for me. I think, the physical aspect aside, I learned so much about myself. I learned that what you look like is and should be the least interesting thing about you. You
Yeah, that
know,
is so true.
there is so much more that you can be giving. And I found that I really was leaning into showing up for people when I was going through a difficult time. It's so important to also, lean on the people around you and know that it's okay to not be a perfectionist. It's okay to not be perfect. And what you look like is the least interesting thing about you, and explore other qualities that you have and other things that you can give other
Mm,
than the way you look. So I guess a big takeaway for me was, don't tie all of your worth up in the way that you look. You have so much more that you can give. And I found that, yeah, I'm in a way grateful, I suppose I went through that. And another way I'm grateful is it led me to you. I feel like it really brought us quite close
close.
because Tia
Yeah.
was the person who I went to first, and you, yeah, you took me step by step on how to, I guess, just get to the bottom of why it was happening. And I think, yeah, just being in your space, I felt so safe and comfortable. Like I came in and you were just so sweet. And I just found, okay, cards on the table, like this person is here to help me. And I felt really, I guess, just like a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. And I thought, okay, maybe we can kind of get to the bottom of this. And yeah, that's where you
Have some
came in.
answers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with M Skin, we did a gut microbiome map, which was a stool analysis test. If anyone has ever done a
Horrible.
stool analysis test, it is very confronting. However, the information that it obviously gives you
Yeah.
towards your health is just so important, especially too with different chronic skin conditions as
Mhm.
well. So I feel as though to have answers as to why your skin is flaring and answers as to why it's happening is just so, so important.
Mhm.
And I remember too with your gut microbiome, it actually came back with a bacteria, strep bacteria,
Mhm.
which is that main bacteria that drives the psoriasis that you have as well. So I feel as though that little bacteria has probably been in your gut for a very, very long time and is a huge trigger for your skin as well.
Mhm.
So, run us through some things for your skin that you have found really beneficial, just in case there's any listeners that are struggling with psoriasis at home.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess just to quickly touch on what you do and why I found that to be so helpful is I think you are so welcoming and open to all types of health and practitioners. So you really work alongside doctors and, Western medicine. So I think knowing that it's not one against the other, it's like we can work together and there is,
That
the
collaboration.
collaboration of treatment. So I think it really helped. I think your perspective on wellness and health really helped me because
Mm.
I was so, again, I guess, front facing of lift weights, eat healthy, push yourself, but that's all not completely encompassing of health. And I found I was really running myself into the ground. I was working so hard and I was, not resting and pushing
That's right.
myself at a
Because
really
you
high
were doing
level.
PTs and like
Oh,
driving like crazy
waking up at
hours to
4:30
get
every
to
morning.
work.
I think my cortisol was just like constantly high and I
Yeah.
was really physically and mentally stressing my body. And I didn't take that seriously. I don't think I took it seriously enough to realize that there is a ceiling and you're going to hit it.
Yeah.
And I hit it. And yeah, so I think there are some really holistic methods that I've taken. So sleep. Sleep is just so important. I know that can be tricky if you're a mother or parent or you have it is just a bit of a barrier for you to be able to get enough sleep, but if you can do what you can to, you know, really work on your sleep hygiene, that is just so important.
Yeah.
I'm finding that,
Yeah, I have a rule. Nothing good happens after 8:30 on your
no,
phone
babe, go to bed.
or on Netflix. Like, just get
TikTok's there in
off
the
it
morning.
and, like, yeah,
Yeah.
just go to sleep.
Yeah, go to sleep. Read a chapter of your book if you can. Just go really focus on getting quality sleep. I guess that's going to look different for everyone, the amount of sleep that works for
Mm.
everyone. But I found trying my hardest to get a good solid 8 hours of sleep is really important. Slowing down, just really prioritizing my life. So, not trying to do it all, saying yes to everything, really focusing on those small basic habits. And then also supplementation. So, using your supplements really helped, to be honest.
Mhm.
I guess there was quite a few things we were using at the time. I guess you could probably talk a little bit more to the specific supplements that might be really helpful, but I definitely found they helped for that flare. So when I was in that, I guess, kind of
Acute
chronic acute
stage,
stage, that
yeah.
was really helpful. Yeah, at the moment I'm on the gut cleanse protocol that you have, which is
Yeah.
really helpful. I found that's really nice and gentle on the tummy.
Yeah, the gut
Um,
repair powder.
yes. Oh my
So
god, this is
good.
so good. It's
Little
so
peachy treat.
good. And just like a little bit of ice, it just feels like so
Yeah,
yummy.
so
It's so good.
yummy.
That's what I found is also was some supplements can just if they taste really awful, I really struggle. But
Yeah.
that one's really yummy. So I do enjoy taking that one. And the healthy skin and nails,
Yes.
and then the mild anxiety.
Oh, yeah,
So
so good for
that's really
sleep.
good, especially because
Love
I've been
it.
traveling a fair bit. So
Yeah.
just circadian rhythm has been a bit out. So yeah, definitely your supplementation or supplements
Yeah.
have been so helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, so good. So the protocol that we put M on was just really helping to target the different bacterial overgrowths that was in her gut. We also really worked on helping to repair her gut lining as well. So it does get a little bit technical, but our gut health, especially our secretory IgA, which is a functional marker within our gut, often when it comes to different skin conditions, it can be really impaired. It's essentially like a fancy word for our immune system of the digestive system. So it's really, really important to heal that gut lining because, as you were saying before, psoriasis is an autoimmune condition. So that autoimmune activity really links back to our gut health as well. So that gut liner is just so beneficial for helping to optimize it. And then we also put M on a really high dose of fish oils because,
Mm.
especially too, when we're in that flare up phase, we just really want to work on just lowering inflammation within the body best that we can.
Yeah, I found everything that I was taking, it felt quite simple as well. It wasn't like all of this complicated protocol. It was just easy, morning, night, with food,
Mhm.
things like that made it really simple for me, I suppose.
Yeah. And any like topical things that you do, like any creams that you love?
I do use a lot of Mugu products,
Mhm.
so they're really helpful, very gentle. I find that they're really nice. And if you do have psoriasis or eczema, you probably have found some of the more high dosage or strong products kind of just smell awful and they're just
Mm.
really thick. And I remember I was so devastated. I was using this sort of steroid cream and it got all over like one of my shirts I really loved. And I was just like, I have psoriasis and now it's ruined my favorite shirt. So yeah, the Mugu products are really nice. They're fragrance free, but they're just really gentle and I don't know. I really love the
Yeah,
Mugu stuff.
really
So that's really
nice.
nice. I try to avoid a lot of heavy fragrances and things
Mhm.
like that. So just try and use as much natural or ingredients as you can.
Yeah.
Um,
Just nice gentle things
Gentle
for the
things.
skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then what about diet wise? Do you feel like you had to like cut out different foods or did you feel like you had to
Yeah.
avoid different things?
So trying to avoid high histamine foods I
Mm.
found is pretty important, especially if not all the time. Like you don't have to live like this all the time, but just reduce that sort of stuff as much as you can. So lower histamine foods. Obviously, a whole food diet is best case scenario if you can, eating a lot of foods in their original
Most
state, if you will,
natural.
most natural
Yeah.
state is really helpful. I did find, unfortunately, RIP, can't eat a lot of chocolate.
Mm.
Still do it, but I do find if I do have a lot of sugar, it does tend to be
A flare for
a bit of
you.
a it just
Yeah.
your skin just can feel a little bit irritable.
Hmm.
So yeah, just trying to avoid sugar as much as I can. Yeah, just a lot of high protein kind of foods is really
Yeah.
helpful. When I had my microbiome test, I was like, please don't be gluten-free. Please don't be gluten. And you're like, you're fine. You can have gluten. I was like, all right,
He's
okay.
like,
It's not
thank
all bad.
God.
It's not all bad.
Croissants and like, yeah, you could
Yeah.
not be cutting those foods out.
Yeah, no. And I think that's what I really love about your approach as well. It's not so
Strict. Yeah.
strict. You
Which
can
I
still
feel as though
live.
too, the anxiety when you're like telling clients to like come off gluten, come off dairy, like no sugar, no alcohol, it's just not realistic.
Mm.
And then it almost ends up becoming this fad where you do it for like what, a week or two, and you feel like you're missing out on so many fun things with your friends. And then you just all or nothing approach, which I
Totally.
feel as though it's just like so important to ensure that the protocols that we do are achievable long term.
Yeah.
Because usually when it comes to skin, you're going to be on these protocols for like 3 to 6 months, because often with skin, it's just so important to make sure that we get to that root cause, really remove those bacterias, and just also really help to regulate your immune system as well.
So yeah, that's a little bit about my journey. Again, if you have an autoimmune disease or psoriasis, you probably know that there is no quick fix and there's no massive cure, but there is definitely ways that you can live your life that will hopefully keep you relatively pain free. And yeah, I think the biggest learning for me was to kind of accept myself for all of the things that I have, whether the good, the bad. I think just a bit of self acceptance also ties back into your mental state, which ties back into your stress levels. So if you're constantly stressing about something, it's probably not going to
Yeah.
fix itself.
I
So,
remember when I was on my skin journey, it just influenced my nervous system and my
mhm,
mental health so, so much. Like, I remember I'd wake up in the morning, the first thing I would do is touch my face, which is
mhm,
obviously the worst thing you can do with acne because it's probably just going to spread that
mhm,
bacteria. But if I could feel more lumps and bumps than I did the following day, it would really influence if I would have like a good day or a bad day.
mhm,
And I just feel like with skin, it can just be so debilitating because you
mm,
just have this constant mental talk and mental battle about your physical appearance.
mhm,
And I think too, you kind of like in these like two frames of mind where you're like, I don't value my worth on my physical appearance because I know I'm a good person.
mm,
However, I'm really doubting myself. I
yeah.
don't want to go out on dates. I'm trying to lather myself in makeup to cover up these pimples and to cover up the acne and the scarring. But then I feel like it then goes against your values because, like, you want your skin to
Totally.
breathe and, like, you don't want to be making things worse. But you're
Mhm.
just in this, like, constant cycle, which is just so, so challenging. I remember with my skin, it really, really started to purge when I went vegan.
Oh, no.
God, if I could go back in time and frigging
Oh.
shake myself, I would. Crazy. But I was vegan for probably like a good 3 years.
Oh my
So you can
gosh.
imagine the skin battle. Like my skin was angry. And I just feel as though I would have had so much going on in my gut because
Mhm.
like all I was eating was just so
Beans.
much like cold raw food and like legumes.
Mm,
And obviously, that is just like not it. Like for
mm,
skin, we just really want that high protein diet, especially essential fatty acids, so like really high fish as well. And yeah, I was definitely not hitting those food groups. I feel like I threw so much money at my skin.
oh, same.
I don't know about you, but
Oh.
like skin is so expensive. And skin for me is just like something that I'm so passionate about treating in clinic,
Mm,
which is probably why you really felt like I resonated. Because I
mhm.
feel like, too, when you go on your own skin journey, you just get it.
Yeah.
Someone comes in and they're talking about their skin, you can just really sympathize with how much that can affect their confidence and how much that just affects their day to day as well. And
Mhm.
I guess how much of a goal it is for them to clear their skin and just ensure that their skin stays clear and it doesn't come back as well, which I guess is why I'm just so passionate about getting to the root cause of skin breakouts in the
Yeah.
clinic.
Yeah.
So for me, I feel like I did so many things for my skin, especially at the beginning. I wish I went unvegan because I feel like that would have fixed all my problems, but I did so
Hey,
many
look, we love
herbs.
vegans. It's
Sorry.
okay.
Yeah, true. Sorry. No offense if you're vegan and listening, like love you. But I just feel like I did so much in regards to like herbs, supplements, Chinese medicine. I remember
Oh, the Chinese
all the
medicine.
Chinese
Oh my
medicine. So, how
god.
crazy is this story, guys? I was driving to Brisbane once a week and I would go and see this Chinese medicine practitioner who could not speak a word of English. He had a
Perfect.
translator.
Authentic.
He used to feel my pulse. And from my pulse, he would write down on a piece of paper, and then I would get these herbs mixed up. Now, these herbs were friggin' dank. Like,
Okay.
if you have had
They're
my herbs,
disgusting.
no, they're easy. My herbs are easy compared to this. Like, I would have to boil these herbs on the stove
Same.
in
I did
like
the
a
same thing.
liter of water and I would have to drink it.
Yep.
I was living in a share house at the time and I'm pretty sure my housemates hated me
The
because
smell.
it stunk the whole house out. Like, it was
I love that
insane.
we had this journey together.
The Chinese medicine journey. I did it for 16 weeks.
Oh, wow. That's a lot more
Yeah,
than
I
I
was
did. Yeah.
locked in and my
Mm,
skin did not shift. It did not change. So that was pretty much breaking point for me. And then I
mm,
actually ended up going to a dermatologist and I went on Roaccutane,
mhm.
which I guess is quite unnaturopathic of me. However, I'm really, I guess, big about mixing both. And I feel like too, when I first started studying at uni and I was in like my hardcore vegan phase, I was just so restrictive. Like, I really ensured I didn't have very many chemicals in my like life in any way, shape, or form. And I just feel like it really like took the fun out of things. And I
Mm,
almost feel like I went on this skin journey to then have to go on Roaccutane, which actually felt like it was against my values, to then almost like snap me out of it
yeah.
and just kind of like realize like you don't have to do everything perfect
Yeah.
and like you can actually have a lot more flexibility in like your day-to-day life and like you don't have to eat organic and like you can be a little bit more normal, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I just felt like I was just so straighty 180 and like so strict with like things I was doing in my lifestyle. I actually had a really positive experience on Roaccutane. I guess too with my herbal background, I just ensured that I supported my liver while I was on Roaccutane, and I also took a really high dose of fish oils as well, which definitely helped. In saying that, I was on Roaccutane for like a good 9 months. My skin was like porcelain. Like I was getting compliments on my skin, which I never used to. Like everyone's
Like,
like,
what
"Oh
is
my
this
god,
new
your skin's
life?
amazing! Like, what's your skincare routine?" I'm like, Roaccutane.
Yeah.
But anyway, long story short, I went off of Roaccutane, and then 6 months later, my skin was like back to square one,
Mm.
which was a huge trigger. It's like PTSD, which I think just really highlights Roaccutane does not get to the root cause of skin conditions.
Well, we could talk
So
about that with a lot of things, right?
yeah, so true. So I guess for people listening, if you don't understand the mechanism of action of Roaccutane, it's a really high dose of synthetic vitamin A.
Okay.
And what it does is it targets your sebaceous gland and literally makes it so tight that the
Mm.
bacteria can't actually purge through the skin.
Mhm.
So that's essentially the way that it works on removing the bacteria from the body, but
Right.
it doesn't actually target it. It just dries up the sebaceous gland.
Mhm.
So your body pretty much turns into the Sahara Desert. Like you're
Right.
so
The lips? Did you
thirsty.
have really dry
Yeah.
lips?
Yeah.
Okay.
And even now I'm like a lip balm connoisseur. Like I could write a book on like lip balms. I've got like, I swear, 10 different lip
Do
balms
you
on the
have
go
the
at
ones that
once.
you have my car lip balm, my
Yes.
handbag lip balm,
Yes.
my bedside table
I
lip
will
balm?
show you my car when we stop recording this podcast because you will be shook. I've probably got like 10 lip balms in my car all by
Mhm.
itself.
Yeah.
So then after going on Roaccutane again, so I've been on it twice,
Mm.
I then did a gut microbiome map,
Mhm.
the same test that we did with you while I was on the Roaccutane and came back with like crazy high levels of bad bacterias. And
Really?
then I did that deep dive doing the gut cleanse.
Right,
So
okay.
then I have now been off Roaccutane for like, gosh, I'm going to say like maybe 6 or 8 years.
Mhm.
And like skin is so
Tell me,
clear.
your skin is
Yeah, so
gorgeous.
I just think it just really, really highlights everything stems from the gut. And
Totally.
it's just so important to address the gut.
Mhm.
About a year ago now, we actually launched the Whole Health Acne Pack, which is
Mhm.
just like a pack that I'm just so passionate about, I guess, after going on my own skin journey. And I guess I just wish it was available when I was on my skin journey
Yeah.
because I think, too, once you treat something in clinic for, gosh, 10 years now,
Yeah.
you just understand why it's occurring within the body and then how to treat it.
Totally.
And
Yeah, this has been quite a, I guess, an information download for a lot of people. And I don't know what you're like. I probably tend to fall in that camp of like, oh my God, it's all too much. It's all too hard. If you could give like one to three things, or just like even one product or one thing to start with,
mm,
is there like a product you would say to begin with, or one thing to just focus on as a takeaway if you are struggling with acne or
I feel as though product takeaway would be the whole health acne pack,
yeah,
not to plug, but like the
but to
results
plug.
that this product gets is just like
Yeah.
insane.
Okay.
I also feel as though a good quality cleanser, so just
Okay.
ensuring like skincare is good.
Yeah.
So those topical products really matter. So
Mhm.
I feel as though even going and seeing like a beautician or like a dermal therapist can be really, really beneficial. You definitely don't need a 10-step like skincare
Mm.
routine, but I just think a good quality cleanser and a good moisturizer is definitely
So
key.
less is more.
Less
Yeah.
is more,
Yeah.
definitely. And I also just feel as though too monitoring stress,
Totally.
because stress is just so crazy how much it can impact on our nervous system
It's the
and
worst
also
thing for
impacting on our
you. It's
skin.
yeah.
When I was on my skin journey, I was in clinic treating as well. And
Mm.
I just feel as though I would think that people would come in and see me and think I'm not healthy because
Mm.
my skin was breaking out and I had all these pimples. And I just feel as though that was a huge trigger for me. And
Yeah.
like similar to what you were saying before, when you're on that online platform and you're having a
Mm.
skin flare up, it's just so vulnerable and so confronting
Yeah.
when you feel as though you can't hide it.
I really agree with you on the point of, okay, I'm not perfect. I can't be telling people what to do. I don't look like the picture of health
Mm,
right now. I shouldn't be here teaching these people about their bodies and how to be healthy. But I think what people really appreciate, especially in today's age, is relatability and,
yeah.
for lack of better words, flowers don't bloom all year round. So
Yeah.
we don't have to be like that either. I think you're going to go through periods of life where, hey, I'm struggling with this at the moment. But who better to talk to about it than the person who knows where you've been? You have struggled with your skin, you know what it feels like, you have that empathy, and you've also got the science to back what you're working with. So
Yeah.
I
No.
think that relatability is it's so important to be real and to have that empathy for people.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I feel as though skin is often that journey. And I look back and I'm like, it sounds strange, but I'm kind of glad it happened
Yeah.
because I feel as though, too, it does really challenge that relationship with self. And it does also really prompt that positive self talk. I remember I would look at myself in the mirror when I was having like a bad skin day and I would say out loud, like, you are smart, you are strong, and you are beautiful. And like your
Mm,
skin just doesn't define you. And
totally.
people aren't going to be looking at your skin thinking like, oh God, what's happening with that girl's body? Or, oh God, like she's not going to be able to help me with my health because she can't even fix her own skin.
Mhm,
It's just kind of like that negative self-talk that we can have in our minds.
mhm,
And I feel like if anything, it just makes you a stronger person
mm,
because you can kind of catch that thought and you're like, no, like
mm,
I'm actually not going to accept this and I'm not going to believe this about myself.
mm.
Yeah.
Make me feel a bit emotional, girl. But I definitely think, for anyone listening to this and you're going through this at the moment and you do have those days where you have that negative self-talk, I think one thing that kind of like shook me out of it a little bit when I was going through that and I was having that negative self-talk was you wouldn't say that to your best friend. You
Mm,
wouldn't say that to your sister or your boyfriend or your brother. So why the are you saying it to yourself? You have to love yourself first. Why are you talking to yourself like that? So I think that's a big thing to remind yourself when you are having those days because I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's going to be perfectly fine and we have all the answers. We definitely don't. But I think when you are having those days, and I still have those days as well, of feeling I shouldn't be doing this or
imposter syndrome
why do I
or
look like that or what, all of those different thoughts will come to your mind. We're human beings. We're so complex and that's what's so great about us. But I think when you are the quicker you can capture that and the quicker you can kind of stop those thoughts and try and redirect them, you're going to be so much better off and you're going to have such a better day, week, life, and you're going to
mm.
be so much more fulfilled in what you're doing in your relationships. So I think, yeah, that negative self-talk is probably where you'd want to start as well.
Yeah, for me, if I'm ever having like stress in my life or negative self talk, something that I find really beneficial is I write that thought down pen to paper.
Mm.
Because I feel as though, too, when these thoughts are just stuck in our mind, we can then start thought looping.
Mhm.
But for me, if I've got an action plan to then overcome that thought, it really makes me feel like I'm taking a step in the right direction.
Mm.
So I'll give you an example. Thought might be my skin's flaring and I'm feeling really self conscious and I'm feeling really insecure at the moment.
Mm.
So, step number one might be I'm going to go treat myself to a facial and an LED because I feel as though if I'm going to go get that LED, it's going to really help to calm the inflammation within my skin and it's going to work on helping to heal the skin.
Mm.
Step number two, I'm going to start taking my supplements regularly. So then that way I'm addressing my gut health and helping to lower that inflammation response.
Mhm.
Step number three, I'm going to go listen to a meditation about positivity towards skin to help shift my mindset.
Mm.
And I feel like when I've got this little action plan in place, it just really helps me move through that rather than get stuck in that stress and get
Yeah.
consumed by it.
Yeah, you can kind of just be in that, like, black hole. You're, like, under your blanket, like, "I can't even begin to figure out where to get myself out of this." But if you can have those, like, little
Mm,
succession plans, those little tiny steps, doesn't have to be this big overhaul, but just small steps to push you in the right direction and
yeah.
just start
You're
somewhere.
kind of like, I'm back, baby.
Girl, I'm back. I had a crash out. I'm fine. I'm back. Forget what I
A
said
little
8 hours
mental
earlier.
me.
Yeah.
Spiraling.
And you're going to laugh. I think I probably really honed in on my humor in that period of my life. So I was like, you know what? You can't be hot, at least be funny, surely.
And you have got a great sense of humor.
Thanks, girl.
Tell me, Em, what are you leaning into at the moment?
I am leaning into sleep.
I love that.
So if you know me, I love sleeping. I love sleep. And I have a few little steps. Unfortunately, I have to update one of my steps because coming back to Homey, our favorite brand, I had the silk eye mask and it is just so good because it just really keeps you asleep somehow. I don't know whether it's the gentle pressure on your eyes. But I came home one day and my dog had my silk eye mask on his bed and he had ripped it to shreds. So,
Naughty
Homie, if you would like to
boots.
send me a new eye mask, that would be fabulous. I promise I won't let my dog eat it this time. But having a really nice eye mask, I find is really good to help you sleep. Trying really hard, and I'm not perfect at anything, but I do try my hardest to try to fall asleep reading my Kindle.
Mhm.
I'm reading Broken Country at the moment. It's good. I'm not going to lie. My attention span is not great. I do need to get off TikTok, but I'm really trying to read before I go to sleep, try to just really minimize my screen time before going to bed. I notice if I go to bed on my phone, I'm waking up in the middle of the night. So really trying my hardest to screen free, try and have dinner early, which is not hard. I love eating dinner early. And yeah, sleeping with my eye mask.
I
So
love that.
I'm leaning into sleep at the moment. What are you leaning into?
I'm leaning into spending less time on my phone or
Mhm.
using my phone as a reward, which sounds
Mm.
really, really strange. But
No, I get
sometimes
it.
I find like I'll be at home on the couch on TikTok because it is just like algorithm is friggin'
It's so
hitting. It's
funny.
so funny. And I'm thinking, okay, I got to do the dishes. I got to
Mm.
do my washing. I've got some work stuff I need to get on top of. But then I just keep scrolling.
Mm.
And then I almost feel like I'm not living in alignment. I just kind of think I
Mm.
really value being productive. And
Mhm.
then if I get to the end of the day and I haven't actually been productive with what I needed to do, I can almost
Mhm.
be a bit frustrated with myself.
Yeah.
So what I've been doing is
Ooh.
I tell myself I can have time on TikTok, like a 10-minute block, if I go and do the washing and I get that task done. And then I use it as a
It's like a
reward.
reward.
Yeah, it's like the dopamine is just hitting in a different way. And it makes it more enjoyable.
You know what? Use it to your
Yeah,
strengths.
so I'm leaning into less screen time on my phone, which is
Very
so
good.
nice.
That's a good one. Well, thank you so much for listening to us today, guys. We'd love to know if you are on your own skin journey at the moment or if you have any advice of your own. We'd love to hear from you guys as well. But thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye.